Buenas, welcome to Conversations with Coco. I'm your host, Ariana Nieves, and I'm here with my amazing co-host and my daddy, Luis Nieves. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Luis Nieves, like she said. I'm her father, her dad, and check out this interview.
Tap in.
Calling to go when I need all the answers. She told me don't worry, I got you, keep dancing. Future is popping as God is a witness. Start a new business, always like vision. I told the people accept me for me. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. Excuse my temper, I'm just flowing like trees, like the waves in the ocean. Potion got me poeting. I'm holding the crown, please lay down if you want it. You better come stepping with Curry and Jordan. Trend to the music, don't listen to lyrics. I'm searching through myself to catch in my spirit. Senses is clearer, you whisper, I hear it. I'm getting stronger, yeah, I feel it, I feel it. Hey, hey, do not come near me with negative energy.
Buenas, welcome to Conversations with Coco. I'm your host, Ariana Nieves, and I'm here with my daddy, my amazing co-host.
How you doing?
So, daddy, we have this first segment where we do, it's called Talk Your Shit. It's our first 90 seconds where you're able to just tell the people who you are, what you do, all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna give you a second to introduce yourself, and then we're gonna start talking.
Okay.
All right?
My name is Luis Nieves. I'm Ariana's dad. You know, I'm here to express myself and see maybe I could touch a couple of people out there through my experience in life and where I came from and what I'm doing right now. And that's it. Let's see where we go from here. But bear with me because I'm a very emotional guy and I'm gonna try to do my best, to touch others. But this is about others and I'm doing it for my girl right here, Ariana.
That's perfect. Thank you. That was perfect. Now everybody knows who you are. So I think most people who know you through me speaking about you, me speaking about the things that you've taught me throughout my life. But more importantly, everybody knows you for the messages that you send almost every morning. So I kind of want to get a little bit more into that and just to give people insight because it's something that I'm accustomed to because you've done it to me, Mommy, and Angelica since I was 11, 12 years old, I feel like. So it's something that I've had my whole life, but you also, a lot of people don't know that you send it to people that you don't even know, anybody that asks for it.
Yeah, because, it's something that, when I wake up in the morning, I feel this drive in me. And I try and put things together, of quotes and the Bible verses together. And after I finished doing that, I felt so energized with the way to face life itself. And if it's making me feel so good of what I'm doing, who's me to hold it? Because I need to share that to everybody else. Everybody needs to hear it. Everybody needs to read it. Everybody needs to see it. You know what I mean? It's like, if it brings me energy and inspiration for myself to face another day, I'm sure other people need it too. And sometimes I get response all the time. But like I always told everybody else, all the glory goes to God, because that's where everything starts from. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's not going to do it by themselves. You know what I mean? Sometimes, not all the time, I know that we need a higher power to move forward, because we don't have the answers. So the things that I'm able to text or write and put together, it's not my doing. It's just God using me as a purpose. You know what I mean? If I'm touching somebody, then my job is done. You know what I mean? Because all the glory, again, goes to God. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say I'm a holy person, but I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that, I'm not perfect, just forgiven. You know what I mean? And that's I think that's the beginning of anything for all of us. We're not holy, we all sin, but we are forgiven. And I could it, and I just use a couple of the verses of the Bible, and then I use all my other quotes, put it all together, and they could be like 100 letters, more, whatever fits on the phone, and I send it out. Then I use quotes of the Bruce Lee.
I'm about to say, I wanted to bring that up because I feel like a lot of your teachings are not only from the Bible. You get your root, your source, obviously, from God, but you incorporate it into so many other things. You love Bruce Lee. We know this is a fact.
That's right. Of course.
You do a lot with sports. You bring a lot of sport.
Be like water, right?
Fluid.
Fluid, you know what I mean? Be like water. When you put in a cup, it becomes the cup. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's so much things that is so strong. And it's so funny because everything reflects with the Bible. Because any prophet or anybody who writes all these books about inspiration and everything, and I read a few books in my life and everything, it comes down to what is really written in the Bible. Right. You know what I mean? And like the Psalms and the Proverbs and stuff like that, I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? You know, it's like iron sharpens irons as one man sharpens another.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Directly from one of your messages. Directly from one of your messages.
Mm-hmm.
When you started off doing it, like what was like your main tipping point? I know you started it for yourself, but like what was that tipping point that like brought you to the point where you're like, I'm gonna start sending it out to people. I'm gonna start sending it to anybody that needs it. Like,
it's funny because, you know, it's so funny because, you know, I was the type of person who hated to read. I hated to read. And I worked for the post office for 32. I just retired last year. You know what I mean? I worked for 33 years. And in my spare times, after I'm doing my work, I had this desire, man. You know, it was just a desire in me saying I need to do something. And I didn't know what to do. I would work out and this, but I was something else that I was missing. And then one thought came to me, and I was in the middle of the locker room, and it said, why don't you just read something? And I said, man, I hate to read, man. I mean, I was that person, that kid, I mean, in the back of the class, and I was trying to hide from the teacher to say, don't call me to read, because I was so scared. You know, I was scared, but just something. But now, when I had that moment, able to read something, you know, and my first book, I remember what I read, I asked somebody, I said, look, you know, I got this desire in me that I need to read something, but I want to read something that's inspiring, that is facts. You know, I mean, you know, how you call it, that's telling a true story of their journey from the dark side to the light. You know what I mean? What they went through to adversity. Because that's what I went through. I went through a lot of adversity since the day I was born. I was born premature, and I fought my way for life. You know what I'm saying? I'm still fighting my adversity to today. And you know something? I accomplished a lot of things in my life. So the first book that I was reading, that this guy told me, so I got a book for you. And he gave me this book, like something real small. And it said, The World's Greatest Salesman.
Great book.
Right? The World's Greatest. And I told the guy, look, and I ain't tell him. I just grabbed the book, but I said to myself, I don't want to be a salesman. You know what I mean? Why you give me this book? And then so I threw it in the locker. A couple of days passed. A couple of weeks passed. And then I said, no, let me check out this book. When I opened that book, believe me, when I opened that book, I couldn't put it down. I think that was my beginning of my understanding what I'm here for. You know what I mean? And it speaks about different things of categories. For example, love, how you call it, adversity. You know what I mean? Waking up in the morning. You know, all those things. I had different characters in there, topics, and it touched me. And that was the beginning of my reading. You know what I mean? Then after that, I read Run, Baby Run. This Puerto Rican guy from Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? He came from so much darkness in his life that his own parents put him in a cage, you know, in a chicken coop. And then he came to New York at 15 and joined a gang. In less than 2 years, he ran that gang. You know what I mean? And was one of the worst gangs in New York. And then one thing happened in his life, and it changed his whole life. And he still walks around speaking to people. You know what I mean? But it took one moment to understand what love is, because he never knew what love is. And sometimes a lot of people out here, there's a lot of people where they come from, they don't know what love is because they never got it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So sometimes, you know, you don't know what kind of journey, what path these human beings are going through. And sometimes we have to walk with the light and show love. Because you might inspire and pick somebody else pick somebody else up by that example that you have that they never knew or understand.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And you always led that through you leading. We were talking about it earlier. Like, you're like, you know, broken people help broken people.
That's right.
Right? And it's
Absolutely.
like, you don't have to talk about it all the time so much, but just by you directly leading an example, like that will impact and that will inspire. And I think that like a lot of people get this refined version of you, right? Like you're the man you are today because of all the firsthand personal experiences that you've been through. So you're able to lend the Bible passages to strangers and your morning messages to strangers or people that you know, people that you love, family, things like that. But if you didn't spend the 63 years leading your life the way you did, you wouldn't be we wouldn't get this refined version of you, like at all. And I think that it's important for people to understand, like, you know, where you come from and your background and kind of how you were saying, like, since you were born, you've been fighting, you've gone through adversities. Because me being a product of you and mommy, you know, 2 first-generation parents, you born in the Bronx, moved to Jersey City, mommy was born and raised in Jersey City. It's like, I was able to see all the adversities that you guys were fighting through since I was a baby. And it's like, everybody gets this beautiful, refined version of you, but they have no idea of what you've accomplished, what you've fought through, what you've kind of pushed through. And I think one of the best examples, one of the best stories that you can share is how you lost your arm.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, you know, with like I said, I was born with adversity. All right? I was premature. And like out of all those eggs, well, not all those eggs, all those sperms and everything, only one survived, and that was me. I survived out of 1,000 millions of sperms, right? But the thing is that, not only that I went through situations as family situation. You know what I'm saying? I was the oldest in the family, and my father left me at a young age. So I had to, hold up.
That's okay.
That was one of the things that I had to pick myself from.
You gotta
to understand that
you gotta tell
it wasn't
them
my choice; it was his choice.
What age?
But
Daddy,
at 5 years old,
I was gonna say you gotta tell them what age.
I was 5 years old when he left, and I was firstborn. All right, that took a lot out of me because I couldn't understand why my father wasn't there for me. You know what I'm saying? And I always wanted that father there. You know, because when I was young, I used to see him play sports, baseball, and everything. My eyes used to light up, you know what I mean, from him. And then one day he just left. I said, what was that? You know what I mean? So I fought that for a while. You know what I mean? I fought it and I was so angry. You know what I mean? And the only way I would to escape was I was playing sports. And I started at a very young age. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball. You know what I mean? Volleyball, soccer. And I was good at it.
Handball, Batman.
I said everything. You know, I was good at everything that I played athletically. You know what I mean? But it was because I was so angry and that was an escape for me. You know what I'm saying? And then I became a teenager. And then because of being so angry, I still couldn't have an understanding of that was his choice, not my choice. It took a little while for me to understand that. So when I became a teenager, then I got into alcohol and I got into drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I was beating myself down and everything, you know what I'm saying? I got into all that and because I was so angry. But then one day, I said, I got to go to do something for myself. Again, something deep inside me said, enough, Louis, enough of this. You know what I mean? And what happened is that I was able to realize and focus myself and say, I need help. I need help. And I went away. I went to a rehab. And I got to the rehab and I went to the Samurai House in Lafayette, New Jersey. It was the best move I ever did. I was able to have understanding and had a better outlook of myself and stop running and stop being angry. You know what I mean? But be the Louis who you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I made a 360-degree change in my life, and it was the best move I ever did in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to move forward. But again, adversity always comes in. And then I lose my arm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm right-handed. You know what I'm saying? So the first week was tough. I was in the hospital. I was angry again. And I couldn't find no understanding why. Because my love and my heart was my football, playing football. I was real good at it. You know what I mean? I was very good at all my sports. I played all-stars and everything.
Well, I got a college
you know what I mean? I was ready to go to do other things beyond what it was going to take me. Because I had a lot of desire and I had a gift. But you know, after that first week, I got tired by that pity thing. Because that's who I am. I'm ready to face adversity. And I said, I'm going to move forward. I went to high court at East Orange to Kessler, and I went there for rehab. When I got there, I saw a lot of people there that was worse than I was. You know what I'm saying? People had no legs, paralyzed, waist down. And I'm talking about young. You know what I mean? Young. And to myself, and I'm saying, man, who is me? You know what I'm saying? To complain about anything. You know what I mean? These guys, these human beings are still moving forward. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's what it is, that sometimes the people who cause the most challenges have the most smile in their faces. You know what I'm saying? Because they take life perspective. So I was able to say, okay, this happened to me my sophomore year, 1976. I lost my arm and blew my mind. But you know something? When I left Kessler, because they wanted me to stay there longer than I wanted to, and I told them, I'm not staying here no more. I'm just doing what I had to do. I need to get out of here because I'm going to play football again. That's the attitude. That's the attitude that I had, my desire, because that was always in me. And sure enough, I came home. I worked out in the YMCA. They made a newspaper clipping about myself, about my story, because I was working hard, blood, sweat, and tears, playing basketball, swimming, how you call it, and playing, and the things that I was doing, you know what I'm saying? People was amazed by it. People was amazed by it. But you know something? They didn't know that I was amazed by it because I was right-handed, and everything came to me simple. It came simple, like right away overnight. I was shooting basketballs from far away, 3-pointers. I was driving them to the court. I was catching footballs and here and there, right? And doing everything I could. I knew I could swim, I could cook, I could drive, I could do all kinds of things with my left hand, naturally. So I said, like I said, I'm going to play football again. And sure enough, I went to Jersey City State University and I played football, defensive back. You know what I mean? And I kicked butt, Ariana. I kicked butt. You know what I'm saying? And like again, people were surprised and amazed by me. But you know something? This was a chapter of my book. This was a page of my book that I have a beginning and an end. And I'm living it. And that's why I caught it. And that's why I do what I do today. And when I do what I do with you guys, I always wanted to give y'all girls, you and Angelica, my oldest, Angelica, my youngest, I want to give you a shot. You know what I mean? I wanted to do whatever I can to give you an opportunity. You know what I mean? And God gave me all that to give you the opportunity. I was just wanting to plant the seed, to encourage you, to strengthen you, to guide you, to get you prepared for this life. Because it's not an easy life. Mm-hmm. It's a hard life, but it's a beautiful life. But they have to start from you. Because when you're good with yourself and you love yourself, good will come to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And for you, it's like, my whole life, I played basketball my whole life. My dad was my coach. Since I was a baby until like 5th grade, right? I think you coached me until about 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, again, I was always, like, I've never known my father with 2 arms, never in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've never known my father to have any type of, you know, demon fighting with any type of substance abuse or, you know what I mean, anything like that. Never knew that. I only knew the refined version of you that resulted from the decisions that you made. And like you were saying, like that was the best decision that you made in your life. And I'm so grateful for it because I know what I could have turned out to.
Right.
Had you had not, you and mommy both, had you had not made the decisions that you guys have made, because I mean, we can just look around at our circumstances and everybody else that we're surrounded by, like, you know, that could have been our story. And the thing is that's another thing, like, you know, I was always guided, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had a father to guide me, but I had the real father. You know what I mean? The real father that I look up to, the high power. You know what I mean? And the thing is that I come from a very dysfunctional family.
You know what I'm saying? I know that darkness. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to stop that darkness. And that was the first thing I promised, is that I'm going to stop this cycle and I'm going to start a new cycle. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a new Nieves family, you know what I mean, of good things that I saw that they should be living. I want to be a father to my daughters that I never had. And that's what I'm saying, like when you understand your darkness, you become better. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the brightest light comes from the darkest places. You know what I'm saying? That's another quote that I use a lot. You know what I mean? And that's what I did, you know. And until today, I am so proud of my daughters, because they were able to show me the things that I was trying to show them, to give them understanding, guidance, and strength, and prepare for this earth, for this life. And they're doing that. And it makes me so proud. You know what I'm saying? It makes me so proud to do that.
Thank you, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, for me, it's like, okay, so like I was saying, like, since I was younger, my dad was my coach for basketball, and everything that I've always been a daddy's girl. You can attest to that. I've always been basically right at his hip, like everywhere doing things. And the majority of the stuff that I learned, you know, I was watching you learn for the first time too. Whether it be because it was after you had lost your arm, or it was because, you know, you're changing cycles. Like, nobody was sitting down with you and telling you how to balance a checkbook. Like, you know what I mean? So those are things that, like, I was able to learn as you were learning them. And I think that, like, for me to actually see firsthand, my dad would take me to every basketball court in Jersey City. It doesn't matter if it was in the Heights, if it was Washington Park, Persian Field, Booker T. Like, it didn't matter where we were going. We were going to every basketball court. My dad used to tell me I would go with him, and it was like, you got to the court, and I'm this little tiny light-skinned girl, little skinny, little nothing, and then you have my dad here, an older man with one arm. He's like, I don't care what it was. You need to use your voice once you get to the court. You let them know that you got next, and we're playing. And right. I did ever since I was a kid. I'm here playing against 18-year-old grown men, and we get there and they're looking at us like this little white girl and this guy with one arm. Like, yeah, we're not gonna pick them up until we got onto the court. And then it just always would show me, like, firsthand experiences, like me watching my dad shit on these guys that are a fraction of his age with two limbs.
When you was a baby.
When I was a baby.
Looking at me. Playing.
Looking at you. So that was one type of, like, just inspiration when it came even for me for basketball. Like, I'm sitting here, like, you know, able-bodied. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing, is that, you know, we could inspire others just by walking. You know, just showing your light. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I was, like I say again, I was trying to prepare them, you know, for this life in here. You know what I mean? So for me to show them, who could give a better example but a man with one arm?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I was playing that ball, I was playing with my heart. But I understand my adversity. I need to do that to prove myself that I'm able to do that. But in the meantime, I was trying to show my girls. You know what I mean? You have to keep moving forward. Yep. To whatever obstacle you're going through, or to any darkness you're going through, you keep moving forward.
And I remember, just like you were saying, like, people would be stunned. Like, you would be shocked at the questions, like, my dad would get. And I feel like when it came to you discussing, like, how you lost your arm, or even going into your arm, like, a lot of the time, I didn't know how my father lost his arm until, like 3 years ago. Like 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's because, like, I remember you telling me it was just a trauma you didn't want to relive. So, like, you never really were clear on it.
I don't want to speak about that.
No, that's fine. Yeah. You were never really clear about the story and everything like that. So I remember, like, my whole life, I never knew a clear story because it was a different story every time somebody asked. So we'd be walking, and, like, I remember one time we were at the beach and some lady was like, did a shark eat that? And my dad was like, I want to go back in the water if a shark ate that.
And, you know, and it's something, you know, back to my losing my arm, it's like, I had a second chance, because when I lost my arm, I lost so much blood that I remember that it was almost, it was crushed. And I looked at it and I knew I lost it. You know what I mean? And when I went to the hospital, I could see everything. I'm still going through I was screaming so much that I couldn't scream no more. You know what I'm saying? And then when I get to there, and they ready to put me in there, I remember the saying, we're going to send me to the operating room, and they got me to the operating room. I woke up, and the first thing that I see, Ariana, is I see the doctor crying. And I looked at him and said, what are you crying for, man? He said, you're supposed to be dead, man. You got through it, you lost so much blood. I got a second chance, man. My job is not done here yet. And that was high court when I was 18. I'm 62 right now. You know what I mean? And I'm still fighting adversity. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good at it. Oof. I'm good at it right now. I'm good at it. And beside me being good at it, I'm trying to show other people how to be better with themselves. First thing you gotta do is look at yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? That's how you learn to change, when you really look at yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the brightest light comes from darkest places. Mm-hmm. And like I said, told you before, I'm not a holy man. I'm just forgiving. You know what I'm saying? We never lose our demons. We only learn to live above them. And when you recognize that, you can move forward. Don't never ever let the demon win.
And that comes from like you having to walk with intention every day, right? And like this again comes from your traumas. I remember when I had brought up to you, remember when I tried to go to therapy like a couple years ago, and like I recently told you that like I was talking to the therapist about what I was going through, and then the therapist started crying, and I got upset, like I was pissed, and you were like, it just hit me because you just said it right now, like when you woke up from the hospital and the doctor was crying and you were pissed, and then I remember you telling me, you were like, the only reason why like she got emotional is because she can relate.
The darkness, yeah.
So like that perspective too is like a lot of things that would take me years to learn firsthand, like you've always lent to me through your firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
Like it gave me more of a bigger perspective on having, your biggest teaching is to have understanding for other people. Just like he said, like that, you know, you choose to live above your demons or you can sit right next to them. That's something my dad has said literally my whole life. And it's like, didn't really hit until I had to apply it in like my actual life, because of the adversities that I grew up in, which are completely different from my dad's adversities. I've always been a very physical person. So my outlet would be to fight or to be angry or to like to handle things physically. You know what I'm saying? So when I started recognizing that, like, obviously that's not something that is going to lead to my progression, that I have a lot of hurt that I have to heal through, and that's why I'm expressing it through anger, that I have to walk with intention every single day to live above my demons and not sit right next to them.
Absolutely.
Because I could still be that person.
Absolutely.
And I think like for
you,
you
always have a choice.
Always have a
always
choice.
Have a choice.
You've spent so much time, like ever since that you made the decision to you know, be clean and change the cycle and everything like that, you spent so much time in your everyday life just walking with intention, because it's very easy to fuck up once, right? So like imagine 33 years of you not fucking up once. Like you have no other option but to walk with intention every day.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I think like if I didn't have that firsthand, like I wouldn't be who I was. You know what I mean? Especially through the stuff that we've experienced as a family since I've been born. Like if it wasn't for me to see you go through a million times worse before I was even alive, you know what I mean? To get this version of you, like it would have taken me so much time. Like I could have been that angry person.
Yeah. And like I say, I'm proud of you girls. Proud of you, Angelica and Ariana, because this is what I was trying to prepare you for. You know, recognize our feelings and stuff like that. Those are dangerous things, man, being angry. We could be better persons than, like I said, above your demons, man. But learn to live above your demons.
Right.
You know, we all got different kinds of feelings and stuff like that. But if you become a victim, you know what I mean, then you're in trouble. You say, you know what I'm saying? Never a victim, always a fighter. You know what I'm saying? You keep on falling, you know, recognize it, you see it. It's okay to be aware of it, and that's the key. Be aware of it. Stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that demon take you down. You know what I mean? You keep pushing forward. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Yeah, of course, man. You know what I mean? And that's from sports, you know what I mean? From being premature, playing sport, losing my arm, from alcohol and drug addiction, to become a father. I'm a blessed man. You know what I'm saying? and become a husband, I'm a blessed man. I see all the joy when I have tough times in my life. Only thing I have to do is just look at them. Jerica and Ariana, they always give me the inspiration, push harder. I remember I was digging that pool, 16 by 18.
So let's do a little backstory on that. When I was, how old was I when we moved out of the apartment? Like 7 or 8?
What?
No. I was younger than that. I was probably like 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, I was young. I was like 4 or 5. My dad had bought a house. My parents had bought a house. First house we've ever lived in. And in the backyard, it had a huge backyard in Jersey City. And my dad, with his one arm, the whole summer, dug a pool in my backyard. Huge fucking, how big was the pool?
16 by 18.
16 by
Oval.
16 foot by
Oval
18
pool.
foot pool.
And
Dug it by himself.
And the thing that what I'm trying to say is that through my darkest time, and you're gonna have those times, going to work, facing people, stuff like that. What breaks me energy and lift me up was my girls. I would see my baby, Ariana when she was 5, and Angelica when she was 7, 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I needed to do. Knew that I have a purpose, and I was going to stop this cycle. And the reason why I had that pool in the backyard, because I wanted them to learn how to swim before they go out to the waters and anything like that. So I dig that pool, I dig that hole. I dig that hole and I said, I don't know how I was going to do it, but I did it.
Yeah.
And it's like everything else again, adversity. And the thing is that I was digging that hole to get it right because the guys who was going to install the pool said I need to dig a hole so high. And the thing, when they came to ready to install the pool, the frame, they told me I dig too far down. So now I had this pile of dirt that told me that you dig too far down, you got to put some of that dirt back. So I had to put some of that dirt back after I dig that out with a shovel and a bucket. Oh, come on, man. You trying to say I'm alone? I'm never alone, man. And everything that I went through, it was never alone. You know what I'm saying? You pushed me, and I did it. And it's like everything else.
Like
everything else.
Literally Superman. Like it's
it's like anything else. We will get through it. You have to understand that. We will get through it, whatever you're going through. You have to believe in that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're going through in life, the darkest moment is something that you're going to learn from it. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't die, you will learn from it. It will strengthen you. It will get you wiser. It will get you humble to move forward. Believe that.
Amen. And that's the only thing that like was able to push me through everything that I've been through. And I haven't even lived a fraction of a life yet. I'm not even 30 yet. So like just knowing how much more there's going to be and how much of a beautiful foundation, a strong foundation that I have, that's just like, I thank God every day for, because I know what it was that I could have been, or I know what it was that like this life could have been, if I didn't have that type of guidance that I had from you, from seeing what you were doing.
Everybody goes through the same. Yeah. Yep. That's right. Absolutely. That's what we have to be. We have to be examples for others, not only for ourselves. We could help a lot of people, man. Mm-hmm. Believe me. We could light them to have a better outlook and perspective of life. Mm-hmm. We could. Amen. You know what I mean? And what you learn, I'm still learning. You understand? I'm still learning. I'm never going to stop learning. And I'm open to learning.
I'm going to say, I can't imagine how it must have been from you between all those adversities, and then you got 2 girls. Like, imagine all the rest of that. All the rest of that.
You always have me on my toes, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And something, and I learned a lot from y'all, too. You say that how you learn from me, right? But also I learned a lot from you. You know what I'm saying? We learn from each other, man. Like I say, iron sharp as iron, a man sharp as another.
Right.
Man or woman sharp as another.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let's take a quick break for a second.
All right.
I love you, Dad. I'm so grateful for you.
Mom, it's okay. So good, girl. All right. Go ahead, Mommy. You're good. All right? You're good, Mommy.
All All right. Whoo, Lord. So everybody that knows me knows that I don't even have tear ducts, but only my dad can make me fucking cry the entire interview. So here we are. Literally, you guys, anybody that I know, never crying.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really more emotional in other places. But today I feel good doing this. You know what I mean?
Grounded and
Not
straight.
only for my daughter or for myself, but for others.
I'm about to say you feel like grounded in strength in this one, right? This interview, like, because we had done. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell the people. Keep it a buck. We had done a practice run before we did the interview today because my dad was concerned that he was gonna say something or do something that would impact or hurt, like whatever it was that I was building, which clearly he could never. The value and everything that he brings. I am not who I am without his teachings. Everything that I bring forward to my platform, everything that I'm passionate about, like, it's not me, it's him, clearly. So, yeah, that's why we're here. And we're having this the first time around. We shed a lot of tears when we did it. I learned a lot of stuff about you that I didn't know.
Yeah, but the reason why I say that is because I was always judged when I lost my arm. You know what I mean? It was a tough battle, but I never stopped quitting. You know what I mean? The first thing that people do, they judge me by the book of the cover. You know what I mean? They don't know who I am inside me or what I could do. The desire, the heart, the love. You know what I'm saying? Only thing they know that I have one arm, so people judge me. And what I'm saying that is when I was trying to get a job, nobody didn't want to say, no, okay, don't call us, we'll call you. You know what I mean? So it was difficult. Like for anybody else, you lose a job, you get another one. All right? You just go to your interview, everything. For me, it was much, much harder. And that was everything, like again, my adversity in life. My life was always much, much harder. Today, I'm good at it. You know what I mean? God, I expect it. I have that knowledge and that wisdom, but that's what it is. These are the cards I was dealt. You know what I'm saying? But I will get through it. I'm confident. Whatever I go through, I know I will get through it.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how it was for me trying to get a job. So I went to college again. I played football. And I'm trying to get work. And I said, okay, I proved myself I could play the game. They made a newspaper clipping and all that stuff and everything. And it was tough. You know what I mean? To make ends meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To ends meet, because I was going to school. I was getting jobs inside the university. But it was hard to do both, you know, for me. And I'm not speaking for anybody else. Other people could do that, but for me, because everybody's different, it was hard.
And
all right, and so
you just make sure that you add into what a lot of people don't know is that my dad was gonna be the first person in my entire family to go to college, my whole family, and he had a scholarship. Oh, this baby, and he had a scholarship to go to NJCU, but when he had lost his arm, they took that from you.
Right, they took me. That's right, they took it from me. So I had to prove myself and play that field. And I'll tell you, I was busting them up. Man, and I felt good with it. But I had to let it go, because I still had that. Like I told you before, I had a plan. I need to raise a family. I need to get a wife that is, how you call it, capable of being a good mother and a good wife. I was playing the fields. I was playing the games out there and everything like that. But I still had a plan. I wanted to find a simple, and I met her mother. And she was a simple woman, a very simple, naive woman. Everything that she learned from me, because I knew it all. I was in the streets and all the stuff and everything. Now my wife, she had to be home at a certain time, and this and that. So once I found that, and we was going out together and everything, I had to let the school go. All right? And I was in college when I met my wife. Do I have to share that story?
You can.
And it was funny because, and I lost my arm at that time, like I said. You know what I mean? But I was playing the fields or whatever. You know, there was no difference anyway. So I was coming from playing basketball.
I know this story.
Coming from playing basketball, and I saw this girl in the corner with her friends and everything. I said, man, I told the guys who was hanging out with me, I said, man, look at that girl over there. She's fine, you know. Moving forward, I would introduce myself. We went out to each other's, and we got serious. And we got married. And I told my wife, the first 5 years, let's enjoy life that we have, and then we have our children. Let's get our foundation, everything together. So I ran a business. You know, I had a food truck.
First, pause. This is humble. He had the flyest hot dog truck, okay, by Ferris in town. Like, we have to preface it. Like, to this day, my dad makes the best hot dogs, the best onions that he learned from my papa, like, the best, okay? And he was the first person ever in my family to be an entrepreneur, like, for him to start a business.
Right, so I bought a truck. It was a fireman truck, and I made it into a high-coated grill, steamers, high-coated water tank, 50-gallon water tank, you know what I mean, coffee miner. And I sold hot dogs, sold hamburgers, Whoppers. I sold steak, cheesesteak sandwiches, sausage, breakfast. I made breakfast, ham and eggs, bacon and eggs, whatever breakfast you name I had. I did all the cooking. I did all that with one arm. Drove the truck with one arm. You know what I'm saying? And I made specials. Rice and beans and fried chicken, whatever. I made specials for the day. And I used to go to, in Garfield, New Jersey, I used to go to all the factories. And I would sell my breakfast and my lunch to them. You know what I mean? And then I would go to the parades on West Side, and I would sell out in 2 hours. All the stuff I used to get. You know, potato chips, candy, everything. I had all that. I did my inventory, did all that stuff. But what life is, again, adversity. I was young in the business, you know what I'm saying? And you had these other trucks, they call them roach trucks. Those are the ones that the sandwich already be made and the food's always stuff already made. My stuff was fresh. So I was selling quick and I was getting truck drivers buying my stuff. You know, hot dogs with raw onions and chili, you know, all that onions and sauerkraut, whatever. And it was all good, sabret and everything.
Yeah, people think Boulevard Drinks is it.
Yeah, I did all that, but like again, adversity. And I used to park my truck in this closed gate, and those people, the one was older than me, that was in my 20s, they broke my windows. And so what happens when your windows are broken? You can't go, you have to get them fixed. It's going to take you about a week or two to get them fixed. They have to put the glass in everything, you know what I mean? Just hold up, suck it up, got the window fixed, and I went out. Did it again. I used to go under the bridge next to Ferris High School, you know what I mean? Sell my stuff there and everything. I had a lot of places, I had wheels, so I could go almost a lot of places to go. And I did it for almost 3 years. I made my money and stuff like that, but they broke my window again. So now I say, okay, now by the time me and my wife, we were girlfriends and boyfriends at that time. So I said, okay, I'm gonna let this go. I gotta get a job somewhere, you know, somewhere. And I got a job in the post office under the handicap program. I was amazed by me getting hired for a job. And I was able to retire in the post office after 33 years. And you know something? I went there just to get a job and just to work. I was rewarded with awards saying that I was one of the best workers out there in the post office, being recognized. It was not my intention. It was not my intention. I was just trying to walk, do what I needed to do, go home. But that's, you know what I'm saying, that's what the rewards I get in life. When you push forward, it will always work out.
And
you got to believe in yourself.
And it never stopped there. Like, okay, yes, 100%. He was able to get his job at the post office since he was young, able to retire there. But people don't know what me and my sister were seeing. My dad worked overtime every holiday. Every holiday. You know, we lived in the Heights in Jersey City, and the post office was in Secaucus, and if it was a blizzard, my dad was walking from our house to the post office to get to work.
And don't forget shoveling the snow in the cars.
And we had 2 cars. And my dad was there by himself, and my mom was inside the house with us, shoveling out 2 cars to make sure the 2 cars were able to get in and out or whatever. And then he would still walk to work to get to work.
Because I didn't want to move my car. If that's, you know how it is, human nature. Again, you have to understand human nature. And I address this to my daughter a lot. When you understand human nature, how people react, and when you understand that, and you have wisdom of that, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing will surprise you. You see it all. What can you, if you've seen it all and experienced it all, what can surprise you? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, the reason why I used to walk to the job is because I used to clean my car out. The first time when I cleaned it and I drove to my job, somebody took my spot.
After shoveling it, after watching him shovel the car out.
Right? They took my spot. I said, well, in life, you get me once, you won't get me twice.
Right, shame on me.
Shame on me if I get me twice. And I told them that same thing too. Now, working for the post office, I got my scars in there too. Adversity. Yeah. When I was just doing fine, you know, getting my awards, doing my jobs, because I was popular maybe, because that's what they say I was, because that was not my intention. They wanted my last 10 years, they wanted me to do something else different, what I was doing. They wanted me to put me in a better position in working with papers and doing inventories and supply rooms and this and that. And I said, no, leave me alone, man. I'm good. I just want to finish this 10 years I got left. Moving forward, they told me to go training. I went to training, this and that. After I refused it 2 or 3 times, but they kept persisting to get me into another position. So after I went to all that training and everything, I got the job, man, just working as something else, as sitting behind a computer and filling papers and taking inventory and stuff like that. It was a simple job, better than what I was doing. I was maintenance. And after I got that job, after I said I didn't want it, a new boss come to the facility, a postmaster, and take it away from me, man. Took that job and put me back to maintenance. That hurt me so much in my life, hurt me so much. You know what I mean? Because it was something I didn't want to do. You know what I mean? And then eventually I got in, and they took it away from me. Adversity, man. So the first week again was tough. But I had a family. I have 2 daughters and a wife. I'm not going to let the demon win. You know what I'm saying? No way. And I sucked it up, and kept on moving forward. And I'm retired now. It's a beautiful thing.
And everything.
And I was able to walk out of that post office healthy. And not much people fortunate. I see a lot of people in my job in bad situations. You know what I mean? MS, paralyzed, bad situation, alcohol addiction. There's a lot of military people in there. And for me to walk out of there with perfect health, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, man. I'm telling you, I'm a blessed man. I'm a blessed man. Because of that day, I changed my life. To understand what this world is out here and how to approach it.
And even when that happened, I had no idea that you were going through any of that. Like, because it was just like ongoing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we were just like, things just kept moving. Like, you know what I mean? And everything comes back full circle. Because you retired the February before COVID. What was that, 2019? February 2019.
March is COVID came in.
March is when COVID came. And he had retired the month before, I remember. And recently, not too long ago, I was at an event, an art show. And this Muñeca Mullins, an amazing vintage stylist out of downtown Jersey City, big shout out to her, Danielle Mullins. Her father worked with my father at the post office. And we had spoken about it. I've been friends with Danielle now for about 5-6 years. We had spoken about it previously. We never really connected the dots for them, whatever it may be, but it was my first opportunity that I got to meet Danielle's father at this event. And and it's so funny because my dad is the Puerto Rican one, first generation. My mother is the Italian one, first generation. I grew up very traditionally in both of my cultures. So funny because Danielle is very similar. Her mother is the Hispanic one. Her father is, the Caucasian one. And it was just like, same kind of vibe. So I had first started speaking with her mother in Spanish, and we were talking a little bit, and I was spinning, I was like, like my dad is Puerto Rican, and like he actually used to work with your husband. And she was like, oh my God, and for whatever reason, the conversation got cut short with her. I had to step away for a second, and then right as I was saying my goodbyes, I realized that she was with her husband. So I give her a kiss goodbye, and she tells me in Spanish, she's like, tell my husband who your father is. I was like, okay. So then I was like, hi, like, so nice to meet you for the first time or whatever. And I was like, I was talking to Danielle, my dad actually works in the post office. He used to work in the post office with you. He just recently retired though. And he's like, oh, I retired too. What is his name? And I was like, Luis Nieves. And he was just like, what? Like, I can't really put a name to a face. Like, what did he do or whatever? I was like, you might know him. He has one arm.
Working for maintenance.
And I was like, he works for maintenance. And once I said that, his complete demeanor changed. And he was like, looked at me in admiration. And he was like, I know who your father is. He's a great man. Like, I know who your father is. Just like that. And just like everything is just so full circle.
Yeah, in the post office, you have the whole world in the post office. I work in a big facility, BMC in Secaucus. And you have everybody. It's amazing because there's so many people with different characters in that job. You know what I mean? And again, when I speak about human nature, you can learn it right from there. You have to recognize people, how they act, and know that, don't be surprised of how they think. You know what I'm saying? Or how they act, You know what I'm saying? Don't be surprised because we are humans, man. You know what I mean? We're humans. And we got these how you call these instincts and way to act. Like I said, if you understand the human nature of life, of people, you're ahead of a game, man, because you won't be hurt. You know what I mean? You expect that to happen. One thing I want to say, by the way, too, about her mother, she was the one person that believed in me. That's one thing about my wife. She never gave up on me when I didn't believe in myself. When I made that change, she knew who I could be. You know what I'm saying? And that gave me strength. It gave me something. I had somebody who really believed in me. You know what I'm saying? Didn't judge me. You know what I'm saying? And like I told you, I had other girlfriends. You know what I mean? I had other girlfriends and stuff. My one arm didn't mean anything. But it was all a game. You know what I'm saying? I lived that game life, that con life. Can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Can't con a con.
You can't con a con. I told these girls, I told her these things. I've been through all that. That's human nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that true believing, I got from her mom.
That understanding of human nature hits different. Like, that's something that you taught me my entire life on like two ends of the spectrum. Like, just like you're saying, like, you can't, my dad tells me all the time, you can't con a con. Like, and I take that, you gotta play possum. Like, so that's like the one end of it where like I was always able to be 10 steps ahead of the game because you always made sure that I understood people's human nature. Like, I was able to look at cues. I was able to really, like, you don't have to be vocal about it, you just gotta be aware of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have to just look and listen.
Be aware of it.
Listen, because you can never hide a lie. Never ever. The cream always gonna rise to the top. Always. Always. You can't, they cannot bullshit you because just listen carefully. And you could catch their lies and just open your eyes and you can see by the reactions they have. You know who a person who's true to you or is fake. But that's okay, man. You see, like I told Ariana, there's a way of saying no to somebody. There's a good way and a bad way. You know what I mean? You could say no in a good way that makes you believe in yourself with a smile. You don't have to be reacting, be angry and this and that and all that. That doesn't help you. You know what I'm saying? You have to carry yourself in the higher standards just for yourself to say, I love myself. I'm not a victim. Don't let nobody allow you to be a victim. You know what I mean? When you accept to be a victim, you're done.
Shame on you.
You are done. You cannot be a victim. One way you're to be a victim if you accept it to be a victim. And you're not a victim.
That was like
You will get through everything that you go through.
and that was the other end of the spectrum when it came to like my teachings and understanding human nature, because it also helped me again, like when I was younger, like you were saying, like, you know, I was using that understanding of human nature to my advantage. You can't con, play possum, any way that I could. Like even with sports, I would do it in sports. Like that's why I was such a good about breaking records too, getting accolades for that, because of it was a mindset thing, it was a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I had to go through adversities in my life that were borderline breaking me, breaking who I was, so that I can transition into who I am. That I had to now flip the script and use that understanding of human nature. This way I could put myself in other people's shoes, because my dad tells me all the time, this is another big thing, that the devil will come to you in the people that you love the most. So it took for me to see that a lot, the people that I love, to then understand like, okay, human nature.
It's not them, yeah. It's not them. It's not them sometimes, you know, you have to step back. You have to learn to see, when I was living that lifestyle in the streets and everything, all that stuff, I was in the crowd. When I left that lifestyle, I was able to look outside, looking in, and see everything. That's the big difference. When you're outside looking in, not in, looking out.
And I feel like that's like the separation between like you know what I think about like with that, because it's the same thing for like being born and raised in Jersey City. It's the same thing, like, you know, coming from the inner city, it's like very similar to like a crab in a bucket mentality. But I think about like an aquarium, you know, like you go to an aquarium, like all the fish in the tank versus the people that are watching. Like that's it's right. Like the two, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be stuck in that tank. That's not who I am.
And that's I just heard that quote just a little while ago before I came here.
God.
Something about something's funny.
God.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I just heard that quote on the radio about a fish in the bowl. It's amazing, man. But you know, look, this is an interview, right? It's not about self-pity. It's just my experience to give hope to others. It's not about being self-pitying and Tamusha Muma and all that stuff. It's not all about that, man. I feel when I'm here is trying to uplift others. You know what I mean? I'm here for a reason. Simple as that.
Amen. And it's just like the impact that you're able to put forward. Like I sit here and it's like I say all the time, like I just like, I'm so blessed, right? I'm able to have this. You are my father. There are people who don't have this ever in their life. And like my father is giving this to me. So it's a different type of blessing that God gave me, especially because the people that I love that grew up in my circumstances had nothing close to this. Like it's a very rare case that God blessed me with, you know, you and mommy, and also Angelica too, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what I think is just, this is why like one of my biggest whys is to like my why and what I do and like why I work so hard. You know me, like I'm on 50 million jobs and doing everything that I possibly can to be better, because like my ultimate goal is to make Nieves, like this name, immortal. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be realistic about it. It ends with me, and I'm a girl, so it's not like I'm gonna be able to carry on his last name or something like that. So it's like this stuff, us having these conversations, getting you in front of a camera is just so important to me, because I can only say and do so much, right? Like I can only say and do so much. I can only lead and do so much. Like it's your story, it's your experiences. And it's important that you share, because I'm a woman and you've impacted me so much. So I can't imagine the men that are looking at this and watching you, being inspired by you, being inspired by your story, and you didn't even go in depth. And that's, for me, is just all that like I ask for. Like that's why I share your passages on my social media. I don't give a fuck about my 20,000 followers, but I know they care about this. You know, it's not about them seeing what I'm doing or what shoes I got on. It's not about that. What can I lend to the 20,000 followers? What you send me in the morning.
Right. And lift them.
And lift them.
Guide them the best you can.
This interview, this
What
conversation.
if something that I send you uplift you, who is you to hold on to it? Share it to others, man.
100%.
Share it to others. That's it. 100%. Absolutely.
Well, now that we're here and you were able to tell a lot of your story, and people have a little bit more.
It's not finished yet.
It's not done. It's
You're
still
not finished.
writing.
I told you, It's a beginning and an end. We all have a book, all right?
Amen.
And everything that we go through every day is a chapter, a page in our book, all right? So finish it. Finish it the best you can in your life. But the most important thing, look yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? And what you could do for yourself to uplift you, to love yourself. You know what I mean? And say that I am worthy. I am worthy to have a good life because you deserve good. You deserve good. Don't let nobody else tell you no different. You know what I'm saying? If they do, don't believe in it because you are worthy and you will accomplish what you believe in yourself.
I was gonna ask you to give them a last quote, but you did it. To give them some final advice, but you did it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, Daddy, for being
You're welcome, Mama. Hey, it's not about pity and anything, this other stuff, or mushy, like I said before. This is not what we're here for. You know what I mean? And like I said, I could be a very emotional guy. You know what I mean? I can't even finish an interview. It was out there before, but today I feel good. I feel good, man. You know what I mean? Because I think I'm living my journey in life, man. I'm living it. It's all good.
And that's why I'm so impacted, because I'm just like, I'm so grateful that you did this. I know it took a lot for you.
Yeah, it took, you know, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm just so appreciative.
I should have done it before, but that's what you're here for, mommy.
Push
bring,
you.
To bring me the best out of me. They always did. Angelica and Ariana, and my wife, Darlene. Yes.
I love you, man.
I love you too, mama.